Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, Lizzie, you want to talk about this crazy Baldwin shooting?
Yeah, so for those of you who are, followers of current events, pop culture, social media news, I think we all have heard the story about what happened on the set of the movie Rust on Thursday. Just a quick recap. While filming, doing a scene in Albuquerque, New Mexico, this past Thursday on the set of Rust, actor Alec Baldwin accidentally discharged a firearm, killing the cinematographer. I can't pronounce her name, but I think it's Halyna Hutchins, striking her in the chest, which eventually killed her, but also striking the director, Joel Souza, in the shoulder. Um, Mr. Souza was in the hospital for a few hours and then was later released. Again, unfortunately, Miss Hutchins, she was rushed to the hospital where she later died. So this has been like the talk of Tinseltown, the talk of Hollywood, the talk of the nation for the past couple of days, trying to figure out how this could happen. Was it an accidental shooting? Was it something that was more deliberate? If it was an accidental shooting, who was at fault? Why if there was a live round, why were there live rounds in this particular gun? Was it a prop gun? Was it an actual gun? So my question to the panel, first and foremost, when you heard this story, what was your first response? What did you think? Because I personally, given that Alec Baldwin kind of has had some anger issues in the past, he's been in the news for kind of, having a hot temper and acting inappropriately. I said to myself, my goodness, did he shoot somebody on this set? But
Hmm.
as the story, came out, it's like, oh my God, another accident. So what did you guys think?
Mayor Patrick?
So when I first heard about it, I'm like, oh, I don't know what really happened here. It's hard to say. I wouldn't want to assume that Alec Baldwin himself was culpable for this without knowing more. But as I started thinking about it more, this isn't the first time that something like this has happened on a Hollywood
Right,
set. I
right.
remember all the way back to Brandon Lee, who died. He was dealing with a
Yeah.
prop gun, and it exploded and killed him. And there's been a couple other incidents like this over the years. And you really got to think. I mean, how have they not figured this out by now? How have they not figured out how to
Hmm.
make it so how to make a realistic looking gun on set that is convincing when you're watching it on the movie, but isn't dangerous to the people using it.
And
You
live
think with all the modern
ammo.
technology we have, right? You think that we'd be able to figure this out.
Is,
And I mean, I think that to me, it's about the people and the people in Hollywood who I don't know if they're cutting costs or what reason they haven't been able to do this so that they haven't been able to put safety standards in place yet so that people aren't getting killed.
And see, I don't think we necessarily know yet if because it's an ongoing investigation. Again, this just happened on Thursday. So they're still trying to
yeah.
determine if there was a live round in the gun. But I've been told even if it was a blank, once it discharges, it still could hit you
Hmm.
and cause some type of fatal injury.
Mm.
So it like Patrick just said, like, given all the technology, like, why do we have to go through this process? Why can't we use some type of CGI,
Yeah, I was going to
Right.
say, I
to
was
give this
listening.
a
That's what they suggest these days. I mean, CGI is not perfect, but um, I mean, it's definitely safer, Robbie.
right.
Mhm. No, I mean, they're using the quarter loads or the blank rounds just for special effects needs. It's, if you're looking for that authentic reaction,
Sure.
um, I get it. There's a reason for it. But as
The
far
cock of the
as live
pistol,
round,
the
yeah. But if it was a live round, that's really problematic because you have a props master. You're supposed to have a weapons expert on set when you're dealing with this. I know that the union that represents the workers, they don't actually have a sign off from any of their members for this gun being used. So, like Liz said, it's going to be an ongoing issue, or it's an ongoing investigation. Now, this always circles back to loose gun control laws in the US. In
Mm,
Canada, we haven't seen this
mm.
type of fatality. Vancouver is a hub for creating movies in Canada, and these weapons are treated like we treat every other weapon in Canada. When it arrives on set, it's locked up, it's saved, it's certified. When it comes out, I had a former friend who worked for the OPP, who worked on a set. He was the weapons expert. So the OPP is the Ontario Provincial Police. So he was a senior member of the force. And when the prop gun or when the gun was brought out, he did the full inspection. They're responsible for showing the actor that there are no rounds chambered, that this is a completely benign weapon at that point. And then they load the blank round into it so that it can be used for production purposes for shooting. So it's there's so many weird things happening with this production, Liz. I know we're going to get into more of the details, but my initial response, my heart was heavy because this is not something that this is something that can be avoided.
Yeah.
So it's a tragic loss of life, and I can't imagine what Miss Hutchins' family is going through, what her on-set family is going through, and I can't imagine what Alec Baldwin is feeling and what he has to live with for the rest of his life.
There's a lot of TV
It's a tragedy.
there's a lot of TV shows and movies out there that have kind of like suggested like conspiracy theories. I'm looking at Mike Winter's comment online. He says the conspiracy theorist in me thinks that someone wanted the drama to happen. Someone has a vendetta against Alec. And I don't know. I That was my first thought. I'm gonna be honest. After I thought about it some more, I didn't agree with it. But I have to admit, I mean, there's enough movies and TV shows that have created these scenes where been these conspiracy theories where someone dies on set and it was planned out somehow, or the situation was created. Um, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but it could have happened. But there were a lot of
Well, here's
issues with
something
safety protocols in general
I was
on
just
this
going to
set.
say. Here's something to take note of. So, according to an affidavit, there were at least 2 accidental gun discharges on the set on October 16th, days before this fatal shooting, according to
Mhm.
3 former members of the film's crew. So apparently, this was something that had been going on, not just in Hollywood, but on this specific set, on this specific movie set, on the 16th. In addition to that, apparently there was some type of civil unrest and strife amongst the production, to which
Mhm.
several members of the production walked off of the set in protest several
And
days
Jeanette Brown was just
before.
pointing that out online.
And
Yeah.
so it's being alleged that the prop person who was in charge of this gun, the assistant producer who allegedly gave this gun to Alec Baldwin, he screamed out cold that it wasn't a hot weapon, it was a cold weapon before he gave it to Alec. But that person, they are alleging, may not have been experienced, may
But when
not
is there
have
ever
known
a
the
need
type of.
for a hot weapon? That's what I don't understand.
When they load the blank round into it, it
Okay.
is considered a hot
A
weapon, even
blank.
though it's a non-lethal discharge. I mean, there are brass particulates that come off a blank,
Versus
typically
having a cold
non-lethal, and
weapon
yeah.
versus a cold weapon being nothing's in there. Like
Right.
there's nothing in the chamber
Mm.
anywhere.
Understood.
And when they
There's
call
also
for a
been
hot
questions.
weapon, that's an indicator to the crew to move to the designated safe spaces.
It's also
There's
been
a whole
asked, the question's been asked, why did he point the weapon in the direction of the cinematographer and the director? And I'm just like, he was pointing at the camera. Like,
Yes.
even if you
Yeah.
look at the picture that we have of this young woman, she's sitting right, with the camera. Not that picture, but the main picture on our advertisement. She's sitting right at the camera. So if he's pointing at the camera to give the effect of, okay, I'm shooting, if something happens, it's going to hit her. It doesn't mean or designate that he was purposely trying, to hit this woman. And that's, a picture allegedly of Alec Baldwin after the incident, obviously, upset. And like you guys said, there are a lot of conspiracy theorists out there about this topic. I know, Alec, um, he's had his issues. He's been sued, he's been fined, he's been suspended for certain things. I was at a Knicks game in Washington, in New York once at the Garden, where he got into a fight, in the audience with some other fans and was kicked out of the Garden. Like, I've seen him up close and personal lose it. However, now that we hear more about what was going on, I don't think that was the case here.
Mhm.
I think it was an accident.
No.
But now it
Yeah.
becomes, just as we talked about with Luke Stewart, the question becomes, what, if any, type of criminal or civil liability applies here? Like,
Mhm.
Alec is not only was an actor on this set for this movie, he's also a producer.
What do you think,
So
Patrick?
could he be held criminally responsible?
Yeah, I mean, I think you really need a full investigation of like what caused this to happen and really a full understanding. One thing that and not to change the subject so abruptly, but interesting to me is the response of right wing Twitter that has gone after
Mm.
Alec Baldwin, of course, part because he's known as his impersonation of Donald Trump and is making fun of Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
How much they've gone after him and really sort of in just a disgusting and inappropriate way, given
It
the
is
tragedy of the
disgusting.
situation. And I mean, it seems like nothing's off limits in politics anymore. That's another conversation altogether.
That's
But
but that's a horrible subset of people in this world.
yeah,
That Trump group of people is just. I mean, they're just horrible people. I mean, I'm not afraid to say it.
mm,
It's
Well,
very
especially when you
frustrating.
consider that there was a loss of life here. Like,
Yeah,
this isn't a joke.
right,
There was a life
right,
lost
right.
this
here,
is
you
not the
know?
time and
It really
place.
is tragic. Yeah, it's terrible, and
Not the
really
time
heart
and
goes out
place.
to the family.
I do, while Gingy is dancing for us, I do want to add this disclaimer. So when Rob said PPP, I kind I kind of laughed because in my head I thought OPP from Naughty by Nature, people's property.
No.
But Rob, I wasn't laughing at you. It just triggered. I'm like, oh my gosh,
OPP.
okay,
All right, let's
You
get to these
down with
comments.
OPP? Yeah.
All right, we got 1 minute
Maybe
for
for
no
these
me.
kidding.
comments. Ruben Gorin says, based on the information so far, no liability for Baldwin, the actor, potentially for Baldwin, the producer, and
Mhm.
props person
Prop
or
person,
armorer. But still, it's way too soon to say too many details,
Yeah.
unsubstantiated. Um,
right?
he also says if all the safety protocols are followed, they have figured it out. Definition issue in the entertainment industry: a blank is a live round two projectile or
Mm,
not.
Mhm.
mm.
And he actually, I know Ruben actually works in that industry. Um,
Yeah.
Mike Winter, he said, I learned this Thursday. Olivia asks, how did he accidentally fire it? Though I'm curious. And then Ruben explained, we explained that he was firing
I don't think the
probably.
firing, yeah, I don't think the firing was an accident. It was the result
Right.
that was the accident.
Mhm.
Uh, Karen Thompson says, this unfortunate fatal incident was like a scene from Charlie's Angels. And Jacqueline Robbins says, Hillary was right. They are a basket full of deplorables.
Yeah,
Talking about
unfortunately. Talking about the repubs. Talking about the repubs.
All right,
Yeah.
let's ask the question. Is this truth, lies, and shenanigans? This is a
Mm.
tough one. This
I
is like
mean, it's a really tough
There's
one.
I don't even know
there's
what
some
to call it.
shenanigans with this production.
I think,
Mhm.
The
yeah.
production, I'm gonna have to go with shenanigans just because of the production.
Yeah. If we're talking about what Baldwin said, I really do believe that his heart is broken as he
Oh,
I think
put in
I think it
right
is.
in
I
the
know
news.
my
Yeah.
heart would be
There,
broken.
Hmm.
there's also a picture of him, Patrick, before this incident. I think it was 2 days before. A picture of him with the victim, her husband, and their child.
Mm.
So,
yeah.
I mean, he knew these
Oh.
people. He knew these
Mm.
people. Yeah. So
Truth,
I'm sure he
lies,
is just distraught,
shenanigans.
broken,
Yeah.
broken.
All right. That is it for that topic. Thank you, Lizzie, for that. Let's get into our game show.
Thanks, Ruben.